Can I go to the sleepover?
I want you to promise me something. If there's any drinking, I want you to say, "No thanks, not my thing."
I promise, Mom.
They really do hear you.
Did you pack your toothbrush?
For tips on how to start the talk, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
I've worked in Scott County for the last 21 years, give or take, and I'm a published author. I've written 5 books to date, in the process of 2 more, and what else? Well, I've always had kind of a tickle in the back of my head wanting to write something, and I'd tried off and on for maybe since college, actually, so since the early 90s. But it wasn't until 2007 I went to my first horror film convention, and that was down in Texas, the Texas Frightmare Weekend, the very first one. And I actually had the opportunity to meet a lot of filmmakers and a lot of artistic types. And it occurred to me that most of these people just decided to do what they wanted to do, and they did it. And thinking about writing a book was never going to get one done. So I actually started a website called bmovieman.com to help me learn how to write. I've always been able to do technical type writing, but to actually do writing that's entertaining for people and learn better syntax and grammar and such, I felt like I needed to work that muscle. Well, I've only written novels, and I've written a few, I've co-written 2 cookbooks. And those are the B-movie cookbooks, and one was on films from the 1950s, and one was on films from the 1960s. My wife Fiona is actually a published author also, and she makes her living as a writer and professional editor. I do this part-time. And she's written A Culinary History of Kentucky and some other food-related works. And I wanted to do a project with her. The books are basically, we take a film, I do a synopsis, put in trivia, cast, crew information, just all the fun stuff about the film. And then Fiona took the film and looked at it, and if there was any food involved in the film, she would try and make something associated with that. If there wasn't, we tried to make meals that were themed around the movie. So, yeah, it's a really interesting mix. So, for example, for The Blob, we have a blanc-mange, which is a blancmange, which is kind of a jello dish. The easiest place to buy my stuff is actually on Amazon through Kindle or print books. Or, actually, if you'd like a signed copy, you can always order it through my website, which is authornickbrown.com, and that's Nick with no K. My parents were poor, they couldn't afford one. Honestly, the best thing I can say to anybody who wants to write something is write. Even if you don't feel like what you've just written is what needs to be written or what you want to write, or that it's good enough for anybody, you know what? It probably is. And it probably does need to be out there. So just write. And if you aren't happy with it, write it again. You know, writing is like a muscle. And if you don't exercise it, it doesn't grow stronger. And that's the best thing I can say to anybody who wants to write. You shouldn't be an aspiring author. You should be an author.